All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chid from Gooner Eagle Eye coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it is an episode of Eagle Eye, a very, very late episode of Eagle Eye at the time I'm streaming this. I realise it's late in the UK, it's about 11:15. But you've had me 3 times today, sorry, you've had me 2 times before this today. So you've had enough cheek today, but I'm still going to give you one more dose, and that is in the form of Eagle Eye. And quite honestly, when I saw this story, I had to come to you guys with it. I had to, because it's either the paper's trolling us or Arsenal are trolling us. We are getting trolled by one of these motherfuckers. Okay. I don't know how to go into this story, so let's just go into it. The coveted defender, Premier League defender, Harry Maguire, yep, that one, the one that is worth 70 million plus. Supposedly, Arsenal have made an inquiry about Harry Maguire. The guy that Man United have made a £70 million offer for, and Leicester rejected it. Arsenal made an inquiry. So you probably sat there thinking, okay, so if Arsenal made an inquiry, are you telling me they're trying to spend more than 70 million? But they offered at least 60, right? They offered 50 million for Harry Maguire. Bear in mind that Leicester turned down a £70 million offer from you. What is going through these guys' heads? This is the same board that you lot have faith in, yeah? What, because Raul and Vinay are a bit more polished on the mic than the previous weasel? I mean, these guys ain't serious. No, I'd have more respect if we were going for actual realistic targets. But it's like you're going for targets just to shut us up. Actually, it's going to wind us up more. We've got little to zero chance of getting Harry Maguire. For one simple reason, everybody knows he wants to go to United, and we couldn't afford him even if he didn't want to go to United. So what's the problem? What the fuck are they doing right now? You see, this type of shit pisses me off. But stop wasting people's time. I'm hoping this is just because, to be fair, I've read this story in the Scum paper. Again, if you know what the Scum paper is, you know who I'm referring to, right? So it does have to be taken with a bit of a pinch of salt. But supposedly, Arsenal have made an inquiry. Now, given the stories of the last 48 hours, I don't necessarily think this story is that unbelievable, to be honest, because this is the same club that just bid 40 million for a player when they were specifically told that they ain't going to entertain any offers below 80 million. And they actually value him 100 million. In fact, if you look at the same Scum newspaper, they actually say that Palace value him at 120. They ain't going to get that from anyone. No one's crazy enough to say that. This club, man. Why does this shit have to happen to the club I support? Why can't this happen to someone else? Type of clown shit. The only club that runs their club worse than us, or is more of a joke than us in the public eye, is Newcastle. But we ain't that far off it. Let me tell you. Just got the same scummy. Oh. It pisses me off, man. I've been calm all summer as well. I've been telling people, calm down, just be easy. Let's see what happens. Let's see. It's only just started. I'm not pissed off that we ain't bought anyone yet. I'm pissed off that all I'm hearing out is noise about unrealistic targets. When meanwhile, and yeah, fuck it, I'm going to mention him again. I don't give a damn if I did a video on him earlier, right? You got Hakim Ziyech, right? I might as well transition onto this story. So I told you guys a couple of days ago that Sevilla were interested in buying Hakim Ziyech. Well, he's actually come out and commented on those links to Sevilla. And he said, with all due respect to Sevilla, this is not the sort of team that I leave Ajax for. In fact, from his perspective, his comments are basically, if he doesn't get the type of club that he wants to move to, excuse me, it's like I want to burp, but I don't want to burp on air. If he doesn't get the sort of club that he wants to move to, he'll happily stay at Ajax. This is a real kind of player, man. I like everything about him. I just wish we could just move for him. But will Arsenal bother conjuring up the 30 million? They seem to have this mythical 40 million and 50 million. Surely just buy 30 million to get a better player than Zaha. Hakim Ziyech. Unsurprisingly, I know, Shig, you always mention Hakim. I don't give a damn. I'm telling you about the stories I see. And that was one of the stories I see. Anyway, as you guys know, we've completed the deal for Gabriel Martinelli. There were a lot of different stories about how much it ends up costing. Ornstein seems to think it's around the 5 million mark. I see other stories where it's been quoted as 6.3 million. Either way, what can you really say about this other than just a little bit more out of the budget? Having said that, another little outlandish story that's come out in the last couple of hours. Barcelona are willing to listen to offers for Samuel Umtiti. We've obviously been linked with him for a majority of the summer. United are sniffing around him as a cheaper alternative to Maguire, keeping in mind that Man City and the free spending Arsenal are interested. I mean, Man United actually a little worried. Yeah, so they've obviously got their backup plans like any normal club would, any club that's not Arsenal would. And they are eyeing up Samuel Umtiti. Supposedly Arsenal are still interested. Barcelona named the price, and it is said to be in the region of 45 million, which, to be fair, I've seen a lot of people talk about this today. I've obviously seen the stream that Lee's done today. I don't think it's an outlandish fee, to be real. When you're talking about the fact that flipping Harry Maguire, listen, he's a good defender. I don't think he's amazing, though. He's just a big lump, and that's coming from a big lump. But I'm telling you, he's just a big lump. If you notice, when I talk about good defenders, I don't really ever talk about Harry Maguire. I'd have him because he's clearly better than anything we have currently, but I don't think he is anything worth the sort of money he's been quoted. And 45 million for Samuel Umtiti, don't get me wrong, the knee is a problem. But let's assume the knee isn't a problem. You've got a quality defender who's still relatively young, 25 years old we're talking about here. French international, is an excellent defender when fit. And that's why you have medicals. Let's be real here. You know, you look at the Liverpool situation. Fekir is a brilliant player, all right? But Liverpool weren't having a bar. They were ready to pay the money. They did an extensive medical on him. Because that's what a real club is supposed to do. You have these medicals, especially someone has a shady history with injuries. But for some reason, Arsenal don't do that. If anything, they're attracted to the people that have those injuries, a la King Kallstrom, a la Dennis Suarez. Have an extensive medical and flush that out. And then that way you can really make a decision and decide, are we committing to this? You can see the scan. Are we committing to this? But based on the talent himself, I would say absolutely he's worth that money. Do I see Arsenal paying that dough for him? No, I don't. Do I think we should? Yeah, I would love it. I would love it. I've told you guys on Dave's Dog, for me, if we're spending money anywhere, it needs to be in that defense. More than anything, as much as I bang on about Ziyech, for me, if we're gonna spend money anywhere, it needs to be in that defense. Spend some money in that defense. So Salah's that guy, Tyranny's that. Even if all we end up signing this summer is Tyranny, Salah, Burton, and Titi, I'll be happy. You won't see me bitching, and I want Ziyech, but you won't see me bitching. For the simple reason that we've invested where we should have. You can make an argument that we need a right back. You can make an argument we need a Ramsey replacement. You can make an argument we need at least 2 wingers. But if we went ahead and did that as our summer business, you won't see me bitching. The likelihood of that, slim to none. Slim to none. Anyway, lost my train of thought with these Arsenal stories because I just think about Arsenal, the way they do business, it just pisses me off. Lucas Vasquez is in the stories again today. Arsenal are apparently readying on an offer for Lucas Vasquez. He is seen as the cheaper alternative to Wilfried Zaha. I mentioned this story the other day. Hardworking right midfielder, kind of reminds me of an older version of Pedro before Chelsea bought Pedro. It's just a hard-working, decent, not particularly exciting, but will do a good job for you. That's what Vasquez is. He's not going to set the world alight. He's not an amazingly intriguing player, but he's a decent enough. Let's be real. He'll put in that work. And you know me, I don't mind a hard-working player over a talented player. Real Madrid are obviously trying to raise funds. They're trying to sign Paul Pogba. Quite frankly, they spent a lot of money already. They need to start selling some people. So it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up moving. Whether he ends up moving to us is another question. Final story I'm going to talk about today before I pop into the chat real quick just to say hello is Arsenal are looking at a striker. To be honest, I could potentially believe this. Arsenal are preparing a 12 million swoop for Hull striker Jarrod Bowen. Apparently, it's been someone that we've watched since January. He has scored quite a few times, to be fair, this season. He has scored 22 goals for Hull this season. Spurs are obviously keeping an eye on him as well because it seems like Spurs and Arsenal are intertwined when it comes to transfer links. I wouldn't necessarily mind a striker because people forget Welbeck bounced. And unless we're relying on Eddie as the backup striker, with all due respect to Eddie, I know he's committed to staying at the club, fighting for his place, proving his worth. We also need to be able to just keep our options open. So for me, I don't know. Let's see. I don't know whether this has a lot of substance to it. Since when do we check out championship players, you know? But yeah, let's see. Let's pop into the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. Leave your comments below. Please do give this video a like if you're enjoying it. I hope you are enjoying it. Please do give it a like. It really draws attention to the channel. You guys were amazing with the last time I did a live stream. Drilled those likes for me. Drill them one more time for me. Let's see if I can catch this volume with the volume down. Oh, I actually did. All right, let's pop into the chat, see what you guys are saying. Thank you, J. Rob. You got to be joking, not a hope. I know, right? Thank you for the donation, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, I little to no chance. I see Collins in the house. More BS. Just putting shit out there to wind the fan base. Gullible enough to pay it. I hope it is just media BS. But to be perfectly honest, I also can see Arsenal doing it, knowing that they have no chance of actually getting it. So yeah, I agree with you, Colin. But would it surprise you if it was real? It wouldn't. We'll probably sign a Crystal Capone. Capone was my favorite comment so far. Real talk. Probably sign a Crystal Maze host on a free transfer. Real talk. Evening. Chigamus. Gee, what is that? Lacazette, Martinelli, and Nelson. 10 rules. Where's Uber in that? Have you sold him? Nigeria plays Cameroon in the African nations. Let's talk chick. African nations, baby. If you notice, I ain't really talked about the African nations because I think Nigeria will get smoked. I'll be honest. They lost the other, what was it, on Saturday? I don't even know these motherfuckers had a football team. And this is what they're like, man. This is what they're like. They don't try unless it's the World Cup, they don't put any effort in. So if you notice, I don't really talk about the African nations ever because it's like they've given up on the African nations. If they've given up, why am I talking about it? But I'll check out the quarterfinal because Cameroon are our local rivals. So it'd be foolish not to. No doubt, I'm doing a show with Ola on Thursday, an MMA show for you MMA fans. And no doubt we'll touch on the a little bit on the Nigeria game. 55 people watching, 12 likes. Come on, people. It takes 2 seconds. Just throw that like and you'll shut this big guy up. Trust me. That's the best way to shut me up. Just pop open a like. Also, one thing I did notice, any good YouTuber analyzes, strategizes, scrutinizes their analytics. And I noticed approximately half of you haven't subscribed. Please do subscribe. Do subscribe. You see that's the subscribes, the subscribes and the likes. They more than anything, those mean a lot. They mean more than the donations. As much as the donations help, they always help the show. They help me get equipment for the show and stuff like that. Actually, it's that stuff that really gives me long-term traction. So yeah. Ozil's king. Mario, if you say such outlandish stuff again, I will have to give you a timeout from the chat. Just saying. I'm joking, by the way. Hello, Ryan. You good? Jay Lings. This is clickbait chip. I thought you Gooners were shopping in P&M. Well, Jay Lings, brother, I'm just saying. This is what we're seeing. Supposedly. All I'm going to say is supposedly. To keep that in mind. Did I watch the SF? I'm guessing you mean semi-final VP. I didn't know. My mum actually watched it, weirdly. I just spoke to her about it. Also found out something else disturbing that my mum watches. And I know she occasionally watches these shows, so Mum, I see you. You need to stop watching that shit. Should say shit to Mum, so sorry, Mum. We should stop watching that show. Man like you, what do you get for winning the AFCON? Same sort of stuff you get for winning any competition. It is a FIFA competition. It's just one that is for Africa specifically. So yeah. Chick, for you, who was more skillful in your opinion? JJ Okocha or Ronaldinho? Now, let me tell you something. Before I answer this question, I love JJ Okocha. Anyone who knows me, if you had to ask me who my favorite footballer is, regardless of club, it's obviously going to be JJ Okocha. I'll tell you that from now. But Ronaldinho, obviously. If we're asking between the two, who is more skillful, obviously Ronaldinho. But JJ Okocha, let me tell you, something. Arsene Wenger missed a trick signing JJ, not signing JJ Okocha, when Bolton got him because he was 31 years old. My man could have still done bits for us. We missed a trick in that one. We really did. Iffy. Well, yeah, this month to make signings. Next month, the league begins again. Exactly. Exactly. No, I'm not. Dante, I'm not making it up. I am merely reporting what is in papers. It is in the scum paper. You don't. If you know what the scum paper is, it is literally the scum paper. Just type Harry Maguire and Arsenal, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is a transfer rumor show. I am going to talk about transfer rumors. Each time I heard Arsenal's name, it's like a bad taste in my mouth. I ain't gonna lie, Rich. I know exactly what you're talking about. You just, in fact, to be honest, anytime football is mentioned, you remember Arsenal, you just kiss your teeth. Trust me, I've been there many a transfer window. So yes, the last time was when we only bought Czech. I was a very unhappy chick during that period. Must be Love Island. Yes, VP. I found out my mother watches Love Island. I don't know what I'm going. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know what is going on. She says she's embarrassed to admit it, but she does watch it. No, mate. What do you think? Who do you think will win the AFCON? I meant. I don't know. To be fair, I don't know. I initially thought Egypt because of Salah and all that. I don't even know if Salah is even playing. Truth be told, I've watched only the Nigeria games for AFCON. So I don't even know who's in the quarterfinals and who ain't. I know that we are. I'll tell you what, tell me who's in the quarterfinals. I'll give you an idea who will win it. Obviously, us and Cameroon, but who are the other 6 teams? Visit Rwanda, though. Love Island is for guys. Is it? Ghana all day. Ghana all day. I must admit, I know Nigerians are supposed to hate Ghanaians. It's like Arsenal, Tottenham. I do kind of like Ghana, you know. I ain't gonna lie. I do kind of like Ghana as a team. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. You guys happy with Burnt Nano? Yeah, he's had a good season. I don't think he is the be all and end all that people make him out to be. I think towards the end, Petr was so vilified by our fans, almost by default. Bert Leno got a boost out of that. And I don't necessarily think he's the next coming of Jesus Christ, where a lot more famous YouTubers will have you believe. But for me, I think he's a good keeper. Let's see what happens. I hope he's the guy to replace to solve our goalkeeper issues for the next 10 years. I don't know why though. I'm not convinced by that. I think sometime over the next 5 years we'll buy another goalkeeper. It's not the most outlandish of predictions, but I think it is given that he's 26, I don't think it's that bad of a prediction either. I don't see him being number 1 between now and the next 5 years, unless I see a significant improvement next season. But I do think he had a good season. I want to see him kick on though. Chick, if you watch Martinelli play, he has 200 goals in 250 games, insane stats. I'll be real with you, Brandon. I ain't gonna even try and bullshit you. No, I have not. Not even. I'm not even seen him once play. Real talk. Well, what are those stats? In what? What sort of level? Oh, they're 5-a-side games. Brandon, are you really quoting five-a-side stats to me? Come on now. Why would Kieran Tierney go to Arsenal if he's living out his dream? Simply put, Martin, he is in a league that is uncompetitive. You know, the Scottish League, people see it as the Celtic League. You know, if you to ask the average person on the street who's in the Scottish League, they'll quote Celtic, maybe Rangers. I know my mate won't like me for this because he's a big Hibs fan. But let's be real, those are the only two teams people can think of. And at some point, you have to say to yourself, right, I need to further my career. I'll give you an example of that, Martin. Did you know that Wan-Bissaka is an Arsenal fan? But I guarantee you, if Arsenal and United went in for him, he would go to United. The reason being, because ultimately it is Man United. It's only because Zaha is at Crystal Palace that he wants to come to us. But you best believe if Barcelona came in for him as well, do you think he's really coming to Arsenal? No chance. No chance. Sometimes ambition trumps boyhood dream. Bert Leonard seems fine. Love Island pisses me off. Gone all day. You should know about Jean Boychik. Big up Leverkusen. What do you think of the links with Chris Peacock? I've not heard any links of Chris Peacock. Gosh, that is poor for me. I'm usually the transfer guy. Now I'm scrambling as you say that to say, who the fuck is Chris Peacock? Let me see. I wasn't aware there was any links with Chris Peacock. Let's find out. Let me go into my fat file of stuff. Not seen anything. I can't see anything. I've got a trusty 2 or 3 websites for this. None of them are showing me anything. I don't know. I wasn't aware of it. All right, guys. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Give me your last minute questions. I'm out of here. 2 more minutes. Again, 78 people watching, 25 likes. Something's going wrong here. Please, please. I know I annoy you. I know I piss you off when I ask. I know. You see that little thumbs up? Just tap it one time. Tap it one time, and I'll stop moaning. You know? See, if you guys can get me over 50, then I know that when I go to bed, it's more likely that I would then have 100 likes. This is how traffic works. You guys got to set it up so it gets other people noticing it. They tap the like as well, and it gets other people noticing it. So just help me out. I'll stop bitching. I promise. Chick, we should bid for Maguire to drive up the price for United. What for? What for? What for? Other than pissing the Arsenal fans off because we know we don't have that money. What for? Would you be happy with Saliba and Cahill? I'd be happy with Saliba. Let's leave it there. I'll be happy with Saliba. Claude is online at the moment doing a live show. Is he? Okay. Thank you, Iffy, for letting everybody know that. Weird to promote that in my chat room. Not that I don't love Claude, don't get me wrong, but let's not start a stampede off Alfred. Chig, Fraser, or Saha, and why? Oh, oh man. That is a good question. Do you, Gunner? I'm going to say this. If we're just talking about talent, D, just talent, I'd go with Zaha. Now, people will find that surprising because I've been saying all summer that I don't rate Zaha. But someone mentioned this in the chat room the other day. And after a while, I agreed because they've not really done it outside of last season. And that's Fraser. You know, usually when someone comes off a hot season like that, they don't usually replicate it the season after. If Fraser can replicate it the season after and show he's a real player, i.e., he stays at Bournemouth for the last year and does the same sort of thing and is professional, and I would love us to get him, particularly on a free. But if we're talking about talent, take the price element out of it, then Zaha. Because I think there is a greater ceiling to Zaha's talent, even though I'm still not all the way sold on him. And I'm certainly not sold on him for more than 50 million. No chance. But I'm starting to slowly come around to the idea of Zaha a little bit. A little bit. I still think there's better out there. I would still prefer us to explore those options before settling on Zaha. But if we're talking about Fraser or Zaha, I know a lot of people disagree. But just on pure talent, I think Fraser had an amazing season last year. I wonder if he can repeat that this year. With Zaha, I think the one element that gives me a little bit of hope for him is the love for the club and his desperation to want to do well. And also, in particular, to want to banish the memory of Man United away from him. He'll be the most determined person to do well for Arsenal. And that softens me a little bit in terms of my stance towards him. So yeah, there's logic to my madness. I do think, just on pure talent, I think Zaha would be the better purchase, provided the price is right. The shit that Palace are on at the moment, no. the shit that Palace are on at the moment, no. But for the right price, maybe 50 million, throwing Chambers in there, throwing Jenko in there, it's still more than I want to pay, but I'd be okay with that. Supposedly, the money that we're offering Palace is going to be installments over the next 5 years. So that's how we're able to afford it. So yeah, I'd be happy with that. Chig, remember how shit your pun was for Arsenal? Remember how shit Poon was for Arsenal? Yeah, I forgot Matt Poon was a was an Arsenal goalkeeper for a hot second. Fucking hell. Yeah, that takes me back. The signing for Chris Peacocks was a weird one with the atmosphere. I need to see that story, Nathan, because I can't see that shit anywhere. I can't find it anywhere. I'll look for that once I get offline. Zaha over Fraser all day, blood. Ah, really? I thought people would be choosing Fraser. Blemsers chose Fraser. I'll tell you what, let me ask you lot. Zaha or Fraser? Price is not an issue. Take the price element out of it. We're talking about pure talent. Who would you have for Arsenal? Zaha or Fraser? Let me throw that right back at you. Brandon, Zaha over Fraser all day. Oh, look at that. I wonder what Lee would say. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him on WhatsApp and see what he'd say. Maguire over Zaha all day. See, I'd second that for the simple reason we need defenders. So yeah, I'd second that. Elliot, sorry I'm late. What's the news about Maguire? So supposedly, Elliot, according to the Scum newspaper, so I've got to put that little grain of salt on it. But according to the Scum, Arsenal have made a £50 million enquiry for Harry Maguire. Bearing in mind, Leicester told Man United to get lost after a £70 million offer. I can't make this shit up sometimes. You really can't. JB, come on now. See, why'd you have to do it? Because now I have to just do that. How many people are still on leave for that shit? Fucking hell. Fucking Maguire, no chick. I'm back in chick. Ah, thank you, Capone. But I bounced him. Don't worry. Like I could see he was gonna be that guy. I bounced him. And kind of 20 million below. Yeah, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. Jiggy's a waste man leaving you. I know, brother. I probably been to keep Turkish happy. Oh man. Fair play to Turkish, man. I know his protest didn't go exactly the way he wanted it to. He's a good guy, Turkish. Good brother. So, and he seems determined to get my man out, and that's a message I can support. It's the only way we're going to stop being laughing stocks is if he goes. To the way we do business. The way we do business, I am all for FFP and being to a degree self-sustaining. But man, why do these not do it, man? I'm not with it. Okay, so I've started to get some answers. Thunder Road, Zaha, D the Gunner, Zaha. Aussie Gooner. Big up Aussie Gooner. I see you, mate. Fraser all day. Blends, Fraser with Zaha. You're not greedy, are you? Douglas Buckland, Zaha. Iffy, Zaha, even though I don't like him. Dante, fucking Maguire, LOL, no chick. Listen, I don't mind Maguire, but if you notice, I never talk about him when I talk about centre backs I want. I never ever talk about him. Thank you for backing me, Capone. I see you, brother. What positions do you think Arsenal needs to strengthen most? Centre back, centre back, centre back. No, in all honesty, centre backs, our entire back line. Because I think we leaked goals really from the wings. So I do think there is a problem with our fullbacks. Arguably, it's just as big of a problem as it is with our centre backs. The problem is we don't have City money. City can afford to replace not only their starting fullbacks, but their backup fullbacks. We don't have that sort of dough. So I think this year, by all means, go and replace the left back and bring in Tyranny and stop messing around. Next year, when Norwich get relegated, you go and get Max Aarons from them. It'll probably cost double the price that you would cost now, but so be it. And then I think you're good to go. It's going to take a couple of years to sort this team out. It is. I know people don't want to hear that, but it is. Zaha let's forget Zaha. Spurs just signed in doubly for 65 million, but Arsenal still. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, Tammy? I see you, brother. Or I see you, girl. Tammy can work both ways. Yes, it was a bit depressing that Arsenal announced Gabriel Martinelli and Spurs, little old Spurs, come in and say, you know what, bun that. We're going to announce a double. That's how we roll. 65 million. Drop it on the dome. Spurs are acting like the big club that we are supposed to be. It's painful. It really is painful. Aussie Gooner. Someone I thought would have been hot property this transfer window is Lozano, but I haven't heard much about him. Is he already signed somewhere? I'm fairly certain I heard Lozano signed somewhere. I'm almost certain. I'm just going to double check that. Because again, if you ever heard Lee for any length of time, there's two players he mentions a lot. Lozano is one, Mahrez is another. So okay, so he hasn't signed for anyone yet, but supposedly Valencia are favourites to get him. All right, 2 more questions and I'm out. Yeah, it's Napoli or Valencia bound. Is Ndombele official? Yep, he is. 1 more question. Whatever happened to Nigerian striker Victor Inichibi? I actually don't know. I actually don't know. I think he went abroad somewhere. I can't remember what club he went to. Oh, it's gone out of my head. I thought I had it. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, as VP has just said, I'm overtime. So let me get out of it. You guys, please continue to crush that like button. You guys know I appreciate when you do that. Hit the subscribe button. Like I said earlier, I can see approximately half of you who watch are subscribed. So the other half, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. I'll be back tomorrow with another Eagle Eye. I'll be back next week with another Chiggy wish list, which if you haven't seen that earlier, I dropped that video about 2 hours ago. Go check that out. We'll be back on Sunday with a chopping block. It is just material after material, content after content. On Thursday, for you MMA fans, me and Ola will be back. We'll be previewing 239 because this is how we roll. It's just content on this channel. This channel is active. So keep it locked. Keep it locked. I'm out of here, people. Take care. Look after yourself. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Peace.